this. So there's 10 steps. Step 0 is getting in the door. So that's basically, obviously, the first thing. You have the lead, right? And I wish I could use my phone to...
Do you have a tablet?
Yeah,
I'm taking notes right now.
So I'll just pull up the lead on my tablet, but usually you have it on your phone. But I just have to do it because I'm recording. So you have all different types of leads, right? That you can buy. Some cheaper than others. Obviously, when you first start, you can run the cheaper ones, like $couple leads.
Right,
just get like 10 of them.
in.
Get practice in. Most of the time, it'll either be a $5 check that lets them know they're entitled to some things, or it'll be this card here, which is pretty common that you'll probably see when you start. And it's a memorial, and they fill that out. You see that? So I'll put it closer for you. So they fill out that card, and they put their info on there. And on the card, to be exact, it says, as a resident, you're entitled to more benefits not provided by government funds. You have access to state-regulated life insurance programs, which will pay your final expenses, basically. And you request this information, right? So they send these cards back. Obviously, they're more expensive if they're newer. The older they are, there's a chance someone else already ran it, or they're just like, it's not as high intent because they didn't just do it, right? So that's how that works. So I've been running these a lot, so I'll do the door approach with that. It's pretty universal. Like every lead you can get, there's a couple that are filled online, the $5 checks and this. So there's 3 different ones. Online, the checks, because they catch $5 check, and it says they get benefits, so they'll do it. And then they get this card too. The approach is pretty much the same for all of them, but just for the point of this, I'll show you guys this one. So if I'm knocking on the door.
And then also briefly, I'd like to add on, these come through the mail, and they send them back in the mail because they want this card. They want that insurance or additional benefits. So when that card's comes to us, that means they signed it out and sent it back to NASB.
And that's with the $5 check they send back.
Yeah, in a sense. That's an online, right? Or is that?
No, the only online leads are digital leads, which they fill it out online. Those are more intended towards life insurance. Then there's these cards that says they get benefits and insurance. And then there's also checks, $5 reimbursement checks. And you have their signature on it. So I'll do the memorial and I'll do the check. And then I have it all recorded too. So I'm going to say every little detail since it's on the recording. So when I first do it, the premise of this is I stand back. You can hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
So I stand back away from the door after I knock on it if there's no screen door. If there's a screen door, open it and be inside the screen door. Don't put a barrier to yourself. Most of the time there's a screen door, so I open it and I hold it, knock on the door, right? Now you're right inside of the door basically. Knock, knock, knock. Emma answers and then just act like I'm knocking on the door.
Can I help you?
Hey, Emma. Hey, so sorry to catch you off guard. My name's Jaden. I'm the benefits coordinator in the area, licensed with the state of Indiana. And you show them your binder like this. And you go, great news. We got that card that you had filled out and mailed back to us. We just have to verify. This should be your name, your address, your age, correct?
And what did I fill this out for?
Yeah, do you remember doing that?
I think so. But I don't remember what I filled it out for.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so you should be between the age of 40 and 85, either working on some form of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, makes sense why we got sent out. It just takes a few minutes to go over it with you. Did you want me to sit on the couch or should we do it out here?
You can just come inside.
Okay, perfect. Great. So that's the door approach, right? And did you hear how she gave me one rebuttal, right? Where she said, what's this about? Anytime, and this is a huge thing for a door approach, there's 3 rebuttals. And by that point, if you're not in, it's kind of crazy once you get good at it because you should be able to do it within the first 3. So if I knock on the door and I get through the whole thing, right? And this is how it goes one more time. Hey, Emma. And I never say, are you Emma? Hey, Emma. Just let her know I know who she is. So sorry to catch you off guard. My name's Jaden. I'm the local benefits coordinator in the area. And you show them this. Licensed with the state of Indiana. And show them your binder. Some good news. We got the card you sent back to us in regards to your additional benefits. And I like to say just have to make sure this is you here. Great. You pre-qualify. Just takes a few minutes to go over it. Now, you've already said what you're going to say. Now, sometimes they just let you in right away. Sometimes they hit you with something, right? So that first part there is just what you say every time, and then they might hit you with some crap, right? So there's 3 comebacks to that. So there's the 3 S's. So if you have a check lead, you can show them the signature, right, that you have on the check, the first S. So you can be like, well, this is your signature, right? And then if the first S for the card, well, this should be you, right? And you can just show them the card again and be like, wait, this is you, right? Almost act confused. The second S is Social Security. No matter what they say to you, don't even answer what they're saying. Just say these things back. So the first S is you just show them the card again or their signature. Then the second S, hey, you should be on some form of Social Security, right? Between the age of 40 and 85, almost like that confused. And be like, well, yeah. I'll be like, well, it makes sense why we got sent out then. Just takes a few minutes to go over it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yep. And every time you do it, you reclose. Got a good place for me to sit. Is inside or outside work better? Through each three, at the end of each three, you close again. So then on the third one, it's service period. Because by this point, if you're not in, they're probably going to say, hey, I just don't have time. I don't know why I filled it out, whatever. Go, hey, I don't have much time either. The third S, I'm on a service period. There's about 100 cards that have been filled out, man. Tons of people to see. We can't come back for you, and I don't want someone else coming right behind me tomorrow. I just have to check you off. Would you like my shoes on or off? And reclose it again.
Dude, this makes so much.
Yeah. So all you do, because each lead is a little different, right? So that's the card, because you say, hey, is this all your info, right? All you do is you do that beginning door approach, and I have it recorded, so you can just hear the door approach again, what you first say when you step up. Then you just have to know how to get over the 3 S's. No matter what they say to you, you respond and order the 3 S's. You don't have to answer what they're saying. Well, wait, you should be on some form of Social Security, right? Things like that. And act almost like, what? Like I'm supposed to be here. So you say the door approach. If they give you any pushback, you just go baseline to the 3 S's. As you get better, you might come up with your own little things to say, whatever. But, that's the premise of it. It's really that easy for the door approach.
Dude, that makes sense. The 3 S's is a good approach.
So in this part, it's still door approach, and then we'll go over the check lead. So the one where you get the signature, right? But before we do that, Emma had a good point. So when I show the card or I show the signature, instead of me showing them like this, because I have the screen door open, right? Because I don't want that to be a barrier. Instead of being like, hey, is this you? Or like standing like this and doing this and making them look at it, you want to turn with them and stand next to them here and almost like lean into the house.
I'm mirroring.
Mirror them and then lean into the house. And you want to be like comfortable that you're that close to them. Be like, hey, is that you? And you're like talking quiet there with them. And then you go, great. And you're already like right there just to flow in with them and just go in. So that's important. That's a note on top of that. So that's a good thing there. And I have it recorded, so I'll do the check lead now. Let me find one. So this is when they have a signature, right? You're going to have a signature because they cashed a check. Now, you don't want them to know, and we'll talk about that later, but you don't want them to know till later on that it's a check.
I guess that's the part I'm a little bit confused about, because that's one way you get a lead. What are they paying the $5 for? Are they paying the $5 to be able to say that, hey, I want
so we send out the $5 checks, right? And in sending out the $5 checks, they cash them, and on those checks, they say they're entitled to the same things it says on the card, like final expenses and benefits.
Here's some $5. Here's this too, if you want to do it.
Basically.
Yeah, okay.
And this one's a little janky, but there's a signature on there, and you zoom in. When you do the lead, you zoom all the way in on the signature. So you have it like that when you go up to the door.
Because this is not one of those checks.
Because they don't want you don't really want them to know at the door it's a check. You're trying to just get in, right? So you have their signature to show them that. So it's completely the same, except this is what it's like with a signature. And then just give me like 3 rebuttals so I can do all 3. Okay. So I'll go knock, 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 and then she answers and I go, hey, Emma. Hey, so sorry to catch you off guard. My name's Jaden. I'm the local benefits coordinator in the area, licensed with the state of Indiana. Some good news. We got that card you sent back to us in regards to your additional benefits. And then usually it's on my phone, of course. And then I'll go, is this your signature here? We just have to verify.
Yes, that's my signature, but...
Oh, great. Yeah, it just takes a few minutes to go over with you. What was that?
What was the reason this was filled out for?
Oh, of course. Yeah, you should be between the age of 40 and 85, either working or on some form of Social Security, correct?
Yes, but I don't think right now is a good time. I have some stuff to do.
Okay, yeah, it's actually not a good time for us either. We're on a service period out here. We have so many people to see in a day. Like I said, it takes 3 minutes of your time. Would you like me to sit inside or outside?
I guess we can go inside.
Okay, perfect. And then the one thing I didn't leverage there, because I didn't get 3 full rebuttals, is if you were to be like, well, what's this about again? I'll just have to be like, hey, this is your signature, right? Because you can leverage that again. Because you can keep repeating the same thing, like, but this is your signature, right? Like, look, you filled this out. So that's the check approach. It's exact same as the card, basically. If you rewatch on the recording, you say the same thing, except instead of showing them the card, you're really just showing them that signature.
Oh, gotcha.
That's all it is.
Okay, I have a question. Let's just say if I went to him and be like, say, hey, this is your signature.
So this is a digital lead. So there's only 3 types of leads: the digitals, the cards, and the checks. You can get more expensive and more cheap cards and digitals depending on how old they are and how much they've been filled out, how high intent the lead is. So this digital is the only one out of any time ever you bring up life insurance at the door. Any other time, we got the card for your additional benefits. You do not want to reveal it. But this card literally says final expenses on it. It's more geared towards that. So it's you can bring it up a little quicker. So with that being said, it's the same exact thing again, just slightly alteration with how it is. So I go knock, 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 and then I go, hey, Emma, And she goes, hey, and I go, hey, so sorry to catch you off guard. My name's Jaden. I'm the local benefits coordinator in the area, licensed with the state of Indiana. Hey, some good news. We got that card that you sent back to us, the online inquiry about the additional benefits and state regulated final expense programs. Just have to make sure that's your name, your address, your date of birth, your age.
Yeah, that seems right.
Perfect. Yeah, they just sent me out actually from the home office about 30 minutes away to go over this with you. Just takes a few moments. Would you like my shoes on or off?
I'm not sure right now is a really good time. I have some stuff to do later today.
Okay, yeah, now's not a really good time for me either. I'm on a service period, have tons of people to see in the area. Like I said, it just takes a quick minute to go over these with you. Did you want me to sit on the couch there? It looks comfortable.
And what was this for again?
Yeah, you should be on some form of Social Security between the age of 40 and 85 or working.
Yeah.
You are perfect, yeah.
Right.
Then it makes total sense why we got sent out. Like I said, man, it really just takes a couple minutes. We could even sit outside if you'd like.
That sounds okay if it only takes a couple minutes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, let's do it. And then that's for a digital. So you can bring up final expenses at the door because it's a little more intended with that card, but it's the only lead you want to do it with. So that's all the lead types right there, and the door approach are all of them. Okay. So this is TNOC. I'm just redoing the recording. This is with no lead. So if you don't have a lead, this is kind of how you can go about it. Obviously, you don't have their name, so you're not going to say it at the door. So it's knock, knock, knock.
Hello?
Hey, ma'am. Hey, so sorry to catch you off guard. My name's Jaden. I'm just your local benefits coordinator in the area, licensed with the state of Indiana. Some good news, actually. We tried sending a card out to the address a few times, letting you know you're approved for some additional benefits. We never heard anything back from you, so they just sent me out here from the home office personally about 30 minutes away to go over it with you. Did you have a good place for me to sit?
I think I did see those cards in the mail. What were those for?
Yeah. So you did see them in the mail? Yeah. In regards to the additional benefits that you qualified for, you should be between the age of 40 and 85 on some sort of fixed income, Social Security.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it makes good sense why we got sent out. We're just here to review these with you for your 25 benefits. If you had a good place for me to sit.
Yeah, come in.
Perfect. So every TNOC's different. These are harder to replicate. You just want to, still say who you are, leverage everything you can really, and the fact that you're licensed with the state, you're the benefits coordinator, and you can kind of get into rebuttals quicker, right? You should be between the age of 40 and 85. Use that to leverage to get in the house because you're going to get rebuttaled anyways with no lead. So you kind of have to use those rebuttals automatically to really get in the door. But with TNOCs, it's kind of hard to replicate or do a video for because every situation, you never know what a random person with no card is going to say. So just really leverage what you can. Those are a little bit more of a long shot, but it's good to know when you're new and can't buy as much leads, of course.
Sounds good.
So I have the recording going. So we already did step 0, door approach. Now this is connecting. There's really nothing to do for this step. When you connect, the only important things to remember is to bring up their beneficiary early. So obviously, if they have something they're leaving their loved ones behind to, you want to know who that is and get them thinking about it right away. And there's something called FORT. I believe it's family, occupation, recreation, and there's another one with a T. But you just want to bring up things, that they like to do. Whatever they like, you like. So the first 5 minutes you're in the house, if you see they like knitting, just talk about knitting for 5 minutes. And then maybe if you see a picture of the beneficiary, bring it up early, get their loved ones in their mind. That's all there really is to connecting. Some people are better than others, but at least for the first 5 minutes, you just want to show them that you're human. And there's something I do in the next step, which would be credibility, that helps you connect anyways. It kind of merges step 1 and 2 together. But that's the basis of what you want to do after you actually get in the door and get in the house. You just want to show them that you're human. So now we've done the door approach, step 0, we got in the door, and then we also did the connecting. And like I said, this step is where I actually connect along with credibility. So step 0, obviously, is getting in the door. Step 1's connecting, right? Step 2 is credibility. I kind of merge step 1 and 2, connecting and credibility together. So you want to show them that you're licensed. So after you kind of talk to them for a second and got them to like you a little bit and you're already in the door, you want to show them who you are, at a basis level. So what I always do first is I say, hey, before we even talk about anything, I want to show you my license. Obviously, we're obligated to show you this before we review any stuff that we'll do with you today. They shake me upside down for that, check me left and right, state test, background checks, you name it. Basically just saying you can't get those at Walmart, right? So, you really want to make sure if you ever sit down with anybody that they show you that, first things first. And with that being said, I know that you had sent the card back to us. I don't know if you know this, but you had sent it back to North American Senior Benefits, and that'll be right on there. It's just this little credibility thing you have. And you go, hey, you sent it back to North American Senior Benefits. We are backed by the BBB. A lot of the times during this whole thing that you're doing, all 10 steps, you want to get them involved. So I go, hey, you know what the BBB is? And most people go, yeah, it's the Better Business Bureau, right? And you go, yep, you know it. So we have an A+ rating with them. So anything I do in the book or on the iPad or help you with today is obviously putting you in a better spot. audited by the government every year. And then it's very important to make this, Cam, he's the man, he showed everybody that this is a good idea. So right after I show my license and I show who we are backed by the BBB, I show them this card. It has just a few clients with smiling faces, and it has me with my mom on there. So you can put whatever you'd like, whatever you want to do. So when I go over this, kind of the psychological thing I'm doing here is I say, so this is just some of the people we've helped, right? It's showing we're human. And then I'll point at one of them and I'll go, this gentleman right here, Mr. Clifford, we got him $4,000 back, forgave $1,000 loan because he was overpaying into a program. So pretty simple stuff we do. We just see where we can help families. Can't promise the same for you, right? Now, when you say that in this part, now they're kind of ready and eager to give you information because that's what you're going to ask for in the next step. And if you can do that for them or something like that and story sell that in the beginning here, they'll be a lot more apt to give you their information because you said, hey, just like this guy smiling with me like you are, we got him $4,000 back because he was overpaying into a program. So they're ready to go grab their meds for you, things of that nature, which we'll go over in the next step. So this shows that you're human, show a little bit about your family, and that, sometimes we can really put people in a better spot. So that's what we do, right? So that's credibility. That's step 2. You want to show your license. So you'll have your state license obviously with you that you also show at the door. Then you have this. So you say who you're with, North American Senior Benefits backed by the BBB. And then you always show them this card. And it kind of helps you transition, look human, and kind of give a little story. So,
yeah. I like the mom touch. That's smart.
Yeah, so that's how that goes. That's credibility. Now that you've done credibility and that you showed that little story sell on the card, you help someone out, get them eager to, give up the information. So you kind of get into things, you go, hey, I could talk all day with you. You're a great person, but, my manager might be on my butt a little bit here if I stay too long, right? So you can make a little joke and say, I just have to grab a little bit of information, takes about 3 minutes, and then I can show you everything that you're entitled to. You want them to be quick, get it down, show them what they're entitled to. So I'll go, I'll put their name in because you already have their name on the card that you got for the lead. Then you ask them their date of birth, right? Simple stuff. And this is what the system looks like here. So you just follow it all the way down step by step. So at the top, it's the very basic information. You're just grabbing their name, their date of birth, what lead type you used, if they're female, male, whatever, right? So simple stuff. You're just getting the beginning info, keeping it easy. Then the next step is you go, okay, so I know you told me you're on some form of Social Security. Is that going to a bank account for you or to one of those Green Direct Express cards? Because those are the 2 forms of ways people get Social Security, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll tell you whatever one, and you go, great, okay, it's Social Security and it's going right to the bank account. You go, awesome, good to hear that. Those Direct Express cards are annoying anyways, right? You can say whatever. Then you go, is that coming to you on time the third Wednesday? And they'll go, yeah, it's coming to me on time. And Cam taught me this. You want to be like on their team with that. So you go, yeah, it should be, right? Should be coming on time to you. And they'll be like, heck yeah. And you go, yeah, what day is that coming on? And they go the second Wednesday. So then you click second Wednesday in the system here, right? So now that you've asked the beginning information, you ask, Social Security, where's it going and what day is it coming on? You say, hey, can't change any of this. Just curious. Are you on any form of Medicare or Medicaid at all? They might go both. Great. You have dual advantage. You're in a really good spot, right? You're not there to change anything. That's kind of the persona you want to give off in this beginning part here, because this stuff doesn't really matter totally for everything. You really just wanted to make it seem like, you're there just to collect the info, check out their benefits. So you're like, great, dual advantage, that's awesome. Now what's your supplement plan? And that's where I'll ask this. I'll go, do you have Humana, Blue Cross, Aetna? Who is it? They'll go Aetna, let's say. No matter what they say, it could be the worst one ever. I go, great program. I'm so glad you're there. I'm sure they do great things for you, right? And they go, yeah. Now they're like, wow, this guy isn't here to change my Medicare, Medicaid like everybody always is. Maybe he is just the benefits coordinator, right? So that's what you want to give off there. So you go, great, that's your supplement plan. And then you go, the next step is any food stamps, right? And they go, a lot of people just go, no food stamps. Okay, great. And then I say, this is where we'll see where we can help you a little bit more. And then this is right here. And I'll go, what medications are you currently taking, if any? And when you ask this question, you ask for their Social Security number, medications, anything that's kind of like annoying to ask or like personal, you always ask it and just stare at your iPad and act like you're doing something. Just act like it's what you do every day. Yeah, go grab the medications, please, thank you, and stare at your iPad, right? 9 times out of 10, if you just look down at your iPad, they'll feel awkward enough anyways, they'll just go grab the meds. And if you connected well enough and you're already a good person with them, they're just gonna grab them for you anyways. I never really have it rejected anymore. When you first start, just look down at the iPad. Then when they give you their meds, I don't have my keyboard right now, so I'm just typing it like this, but you just type in the med, even if you type in the beginning of it, and I'll make it just so the recording can see, but it like pops it up for you. You see that, Steven? So then you can just click add. So I only typed in LIS, but it's already showing that was Cinepril. I can just add it. So now you got all the meds, right? Now, when you get all the meds, you go, great, thank you for those. Do you have any co-pays on those? And they'll probably say like, yeah, just a $10 copay. Okay, great. Nothing too much out of pocket there. What about the dentist? Not for your daily cleanings, but sometimes cavities, root canals. You ever face any copays there? You're like, oh, yeah, with root canals, it's like $50, whatever. It's kind of high. It's annoying. They're on Social Security, not with much money. So, these little copays add up for them. And then you can go, okay, what about your prescription glasses? I see some fancy glasses on. People get those every 2 years. How much you come out of pocket for those? Those tend to be more regardless of how good of a program you have, right? So when you do that, a lot of the times with the prescription glasses, go, yeah, big copay, whatever. So you go, great, okay, we might be able to help you there. And you go, what about your hearing? I'm sure you're hearing me fine, right? Make a little joke if it's obvious. They'll go, yep, okay, no out-of-pockets there then. And I'll say, what about your final expenses? Now, what do you contribute per month is what you should say to your final expenses, right? And when you ask this question, you've already gone so deep into everything else without changing anything or making it seem like you're a salesman at all that they're just going to tell you. So they're going to go, yep, I go with Colonial Penn, let's say, right? So you go, okay, great, Colonial Penn, awesome to hear that you're in that program. How long have you had it for? And this is, because I have it recorded, so if you can just follow it exactly like this is where I get out of here after I ask all the copays. And if I ask what they have in place, I get out of here, I go back to where the presentation is. And everybody, at least on my team, will have this here where it shows you the 4 things you have to ask about their life insurance in this moment right now that we're in, of the whole thing I'm doing. So you ask the company, like I said, they just told you it's Colonial Penn, right? I won't write it out. How much they're paying, their premium a month. Let's say 50, whatever. Their face amount, how much are you covered for? Let's just say they say 10,000, right? And then you go, how long have you had it? Let's say they say 7 years. This is all the info you need to know so that when you do your presentation, you can structure it towards this, right?
It makes sense.
That's what you need to know, right? So that's where you put that. And then I literally go back from here, back into here again. And I go, great, glad you have something in place. I don't even get into life insurance yet. We've been talking for like 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I still haven't even got to life insurance, right? So then after you get all of the meds, you ask about copays, you ask about final expenses, you go just 7 quick health questions, and I'll tell you everything that you qualified for. So just last part here. All you simply do is you ask them these top questions in this top box. There's nothing to really say about that. You just ask them, do you have any of these, right? And you also ask if they're a tobacco user. That's what you ask about their health, okay? So that's the whole thing there. Now you have their health, you have all their prescriptions, you've asked everything, you know what they have in place for final expenses, right? So step 3, you found all the facts, right? Now at this point, what you'll do, and I have it in the binder here, and you just keep these in your binder, is you give them this free discount program. And you always want to just really tell them before you show them anything, just say, hey, this doesn't mess with any of your benefits. People get scared of that. Say it's just like a coupon you use at McDonald's. It helps you save on those copays. I'll say, I know your glasses have been costing you $300 out of pocket, pretty crazy. So we might be able to help you here. So you give them that. And everybody does this part a little bit differently, but you can read it off if you'd like to take it a little deeper. But typically, to be quite honest, what I do is I read off the certain percentage of savings they get in each category. So, hey, I really heard you're coming out of pocket for that vision. You can, with this card for free, just show your retailer, you can save up to 50% on those copays, right? You show them the card, show them how help save on the copay, say it's completely free. You don't even put your name in.
How many times can you use the coupon?
What's that?
How many times can you use it? Just once?
I use it every Prezi because you just do this all the same way every time. So
like the customer, can the customer only use it one time?
Oh no, they can use it multiple times. Yeah.
Okay, good enough.
File.
Yep. So then once you give them the card, that's basically all of step 3, right? You've got the beginning information. You found out if they're on Social Security, disability, or working, where it goes to bank account, direct express, what day their Social Security comes on. Acted like you weren't there to mess with anything, asked what their Medicare, Medicaid, their supplement plan was. You then got their meds, asked about copays. After you got their meds and asked about the copays, you ask what life insurance they have in place. You leave it at that, say, great, I'm glad you have final expenses in place. You ask the health, and you show the card, and that's it. Now, one thing I think I forgot to add to this video, because if you're watching this all the way to the end, I'm doing it right anyways, where when I first sit down before, because I forgot to do this in the very beginning, before I go into broker and I ask all of these questions, right, I want to get it in their head. So what I do is I show them the card again. So everything I just went over, the only change is I do this in the very beginning, and then I go into that presentation, the Broker 360 to get all the facts. Now with this card, when you first sit down with them, before you go into broker, you want to say, hey, you obviously took the time to fill this out and mail it back to us. There must have been something you were looking for. Was it help on the additional benefit side of things, final expenses, one or the either or both? And if they just tell you an answer right away, just run with it. Great, we'll see where we can help you. You open up broker and do everything I just said, right? Pretty simple. Now, if they kind of like, I don't know, I like to kind of like make them say it to me, because Cam taught me this as well, where you can basically say, get them to say that's why they filled it out. So I'll say something like, yeah, usually when people fill it out, like 90% of the time, they're really just looking for help in the final expenses. Is that something you've been thinking about? And they might be like, oh yeah, it actually has been, or no, it hasn't. And now you know if they're qualified or not. So that's the only change to everything I just did in this video, because it's like 9 minutes long. I don't want to redo it. That you just, before you go into this, after you connect with them and you get the facts, you do the connecting credibility and you go into this, you want to go over the card first and find out why they may have filled it out or guide them in that direction. So that's step 3, that's getting all the facts. So far we've done the door approach with all leads getting in the house. Then we show connecting, then credibility. And part of my credibility is also connecting with that card. And then after the credibility, then in the connecting, you then jump into this and then go on broker and fill all of this out. At that point, you're already at step 3. So that's step 0 through 3 total. So now you've done steps 0 through 3. You got in the door, then you did the connecting, then you did credibility, then you did the fact finding broker, found out everything about their health, all of that good stuff. Now, what you want to do after you show them this card is you want to go, all right, I want to show you this. And I open it up and I just say, hey, I just want to make sure, can you see that, right? And they go, yep, great. So you say, hey, usually the prescriptions, the dental, the vision, the hearing, that's the living benefit side of things where we help families to save. But where we actually specialize and help families save the most amount of money is in those final expenses. Now, usually when that card comes across my desk that we've already talked about, right, it usually means that you have fallen under one of 3 concerns when it comes to your final expenses. Now, the first concern is just making sure, funny enough, that you just have something in place. What you do, right, that Colonial Penn, give them a little knuckles, whatever it may be, right? You want to hype them up in that moment. Good job. You got the Colonial Penn in place. You did step 1. That's awesome. So you go first thing, just making sure you have something in place. Now, with that Colonial Penn, who are you leaving that behind to? And then Emma might say, like, my daughter, right? So then you go, great. And you just scroll down under the beneficiary. It's sloppy here, but I just write daughter, right? So you go, yep, that's the first concern, is just making sure you have something in place to protect your daughter. God forbid, on the worst day of her life, when you pass, you don't want her, to come $15,000 out of pocket. They already have something in place. They'll agree with you, of course. Now you go like I said, it's 3 steps. We make it super easy to understand. The first step is just making sure you have something in place. But before I show you the other 2, I just want to show you this here. So what we are is we are a national brokerage. And like I said, you want to keep them involved, ask them questions. Do you know how brokerage works by chance? And 99% of the time, no. I go, maybe, but that just means they don't know too, right? So they just don't know.
Right.
So you go, that's my job to come out here and explain these things to you, of course. So a brokerage means that we basically get access to a whole market of carriers. So we're all of them, we're not just one company. So basically what that means, Ms. Johnson, is we're able to work for you, not for one specific company. What are the odds that one company you pick was the best one for you based on your health, age, and gender? The 3 things final expenses are based on. And they'll go, yep, makes sense. And you just want to make sure that that makes sense to them. Explain further if you have to till it makes sense. Then you go, great. Now that you understand we're a national brokerage, like I said, super easy to understand. We come out for 3 concerns. And I always repeat myself, the first being that you have something in place for your daughter, right? Now, the second concern that we come across is just making sure that you have the right type of insurance. Now, has anyone ever educated you on the difference between term and whole life before? And again, 90% of the time, they're going to say no, right? So you go, okay, yep, so that's why I'm here. So term is actually short for terminate. So just remember that, right? Everything's in the name. Now, what they'll do is they'll start you off at a super low rate. So for example, $20 a month for $50,000 in coverage, right? Something that just sounds way too good to be true, because it is. So what will happen is every 2 to 4 years in a term policy, it looks great, but the premiums increase on you. Now they increase so high. I mean, the biggest one I've ever seen was $3,000 a month, right? It was a little bit of an anomaly, but typically $300 to $400 a month is what that will increase to. We help people on a fixed income like yourself, even if you were rich, who wants to see an increasing premium every 2 to 4 years to the point where it's unaffordable, right? Nobody. Another bad thing about these, they build no cash value. So all of those monthly premiums that you put into that policy, God forbid you get rid of it because it gets too expensive, you're not reimbursed anything. All of the money you paid in goes right back to the company. Now on top of that, like I said, term is short for terminate, they also expire. So not only do they go up in price, let's say you keep it because you really love your daughter and you keep paying that high $300 monthly premium, it usually expires before the age of 75 anyways, completely terminating on you, again, receiving none of that cash value reimbursement back. The company keeps it all. And at this point, I'll say, have you ever heard of like MetLife or Globe Life Stadium before? And they'll go, yeah. And I'll go, those are, bigger term companies. They can build $1 billion stadiums because they take people's premiums by doing things like this. Sounds really good in the beginning, it kind of blows up in their face in the long run. Now, since it blows up on them, since we made this presentation, they actually only pay out 1% of the time. So if you lined up 100 of your daughters, hypothetically, and you had a term policy, right? There's only one of your daughters that would be paid out. You might as well go play the next keynote ticket, right? You can get them to laugh. So you go, obviously that's not the right place to fall. Now the complete opposite is a whole life. What these are fixed premiums. So they never go up in price, no matter what happens to you. They also never expire, unlike a term. So I joke and say you could be 1,000,000 years old and that policy still pays out to the family. They also build that cash value, so over time, you'll build it up. God forbid you get rid of it 10 years later, you'll be reimbursed about 90% of what you put in, so you really can't lose. And if for whatever reason your car breaks down 2 years in, you need a loan against it, we don't advise to, but you can. These pay out no matter what because they never go up in price and they never expire on you. Now, they're not going to promise you $20 a month for $50,000 in coverage because they have to keep their promise. And that's me getting over the rebuttal of price later on as well, if you've seen that little hint in there. Because I'm letting them know these rates are higher to start because they don't go up in price and they honor their truth. They're going to pay out no matter what, right? So then I repeat myself again. I'll go, hey, like I said, really important to have something in place to protect your daughter. And most people agree with me. You want to make sure you fall under that whole life program, right? And if you can tell everything that's good, I match it in green. Everything that's bad, it's in red. So you want to make sure you have that whole life, right? Now, usually most people do their research, maybe like yourself, they get something in place, they get a whole life. They don't realize that there's 3 different grades of whole life. Again, getting them involved, have you ever heard of the 3 different grades of whole life before? And they'll usually go, no, I haven't. And you go, okay, they're graded just like school. Again, this is for whole life. So even if you pick the right type, you can fall under the wrong grade. Graded just like school, C is the worst, A is the best. Now C grade, they're usually called graded, modified, guaranteed issue. These are things that you see online, TV, mail, bank, or job. These are your Colonial Penns, your AARPs, True Stages, Lincoln Heritages, for example. Now what they'll do, and I say it like this because this is how they say it in the ad, it makes them remember it. I'll say, they'll tell you you're guaranteed to be accepted, everybody's approved, no medical checks required. I'll go, have you ever heard that before? And they go, yeah, I hear it all the time, that guy at Colonial Penn. I'll go, yeah, John the Ball guy, $9.95 a unit. So then, you're getting them involved in this and saying, you've heard that before, right? They say everybody's approved. I'll go, like I told you earlier, final expenses are based on your age, your health, and your gender. Now, if they're not even checking your health because you're guaranteed to be approved, isn't that a red flag? And they'll go, yeah, it is actually. I'll go, yeah, because if they don't check your health, they're assuming you have a major health concern. And Miss Johnson, you just told me you only had diabetes, right? So you obviously don't belong in this program. I'm sure you know that. And they'll go, yeah, I just have diabetes. I don't have congestive heart failure, home oxygen, whatever it may be. And I'll go, yeah, the punishment for taking someone healthy like yourself and putting them into these C grades is that they'll throw you into a 2 to 4 year waiting period. Where God forbid you pass away in the first 2 to 4 years, nothing pays out to the family. On top of that, the rates are increased because you're a healthy person, an unhealthy person's policy. They're going to make your rates as so, right? If I were to ask you, if I had 7 DUIs and you had none, would we get the same car insurance? And it's a little joke. They go, no. I go, why would you do that with your life insurance then, right? I go, yep, makes sense. So you go, obviously, even though you got the right type of whole life, you want to make sure you don't fall into the wrong grade, being that C grade. Now, there's also a B standard. We don't hate them. We don't love them. These are your local agents, your AAAs, your State Farms. For one, they can't shop the market like we can. So what are the odds they end up being the best company for you based on your health, age, and gender? And 2, they don't come with this thing called riders. Both B and C don't come with riders. And if you do get them, you have to pay for them. With as healthy as you are, you should have them for free, right? Have you ever heard of riders before? And again, they'll probably say no. And you go, okay, so you should have 3 of these all for free on your policy. And at this point, I'll make it sound like I'm educated. I like doing this. I'll say everything's in the name, and I'll kind of recap. I'll go term short for terminate. Whole life means it lasts your whole life, right? Riders ride on the policy with you. So there's 3 free ones that you should have. The first one's called the accelerated. What it does is allows you to access half the face amount. God forbid you're ever deemed terminally ill. I'll story sell this one, and you guys should just use the same example because you probably have one similar. And I say, hey, my grandma, she passed away this January, back in 2024, and these are ashes here, big medical expenses stacked up. Me and the family had to come help pay out of pocket for those medical expenses, because she didn't have something like this in place. Now, what this rider allows you to do is hypothetically, you're covered for $20,000. You can access half while you're still alive, $10,000 tax-free to, help pay those medical expenses of the family, do one last family vacation, whatever it may be. So very important to have that one on there. The second one's called the accidental. What this does, very easiest one to understand, doubles the face value in case of any accident. I joke and say, God forbid you ever pass away skydiving, if you're covered for $20,000, you'll automatically get $40,000 in coverage. Really, that's for car accidents, fall and bump your head, things of that nature, right? And they'll go, yep. Then you go to the third one, and I go, this last one here, it is honestly the most important to me. Yes, the first two are very cool money benefits that you should have for free and get, but this nursing home rider protects your policy. And this is where I'll ask them again, another question. Has anyone, or have you ever heard of anyone getting their assets taken because they were put in a nursing home, or nursing homes coming after people's assets? And typically these older people will have seen that happen, and I'd say 80% of the time they agree with me, and they go, yeah, I've seen that happen before. I go, pretty scary. And I go, we can't protect everything, but we can protect this. So we want to make sure that all that cash value that you built up, that'll be seen, as an asset to you, and the nursing homes will come after that. When they do that, it puts your whole policy at risk. Now, if you were to ask me, if I'm in a nursing home, that probably means, it's terrible to say, I'm close to the end of my life. That's probably the last moment I want my whole policy to collapse. I've been paying on this whole time to cover me in this exact moment. So you could literally do everything else right. You could get something in place, get the right type, get all the riders. But if you're missing this, and God forbid get put in a nursing home, your whole policy can collapse on itself. So like I said, to me, that's the most important one. Now, all in all, like I said, you want to have something in place, right? So on the worst day of your daughter's life, she doesn't have to come out of pocket. You want to make sure you have that whole life. Of course, we both agreed on that. And you want to make sure that you fall under an A, preferred whole life program. Now, what this is it's day one coverage, and then I cross out the waiting period down here. No waiting periods like the ones off the TV. We shop around to get you the best rate because, like I said, we're a brokerage, so we shop around for the best rate. We get you all the riders that we just talked about, and then unless I pass before you do, you get me as your benefits coordinator for the rest of your life. When that time comes, your family knows that they can call me and trust me. Also, that free discount program doesn't have anything to do with the final expenses, but we showed you this as well. You were also entitled to that, of course, along with the A Preferred final expense program. Now, I know you already have that Colonial Penn in place, and this is the end of step 4, actually. So the next step after this will be calling the carrier because you haven't even really, exposed too much yet. You're really just educating them throughout the presentation. But that's the whole presentation there. If you can say it word for word like that, you'll be good. You just want to go through each concern. And then after you do this, the next step in the next video will be you call the carrier and get an update, which you write in here on the whole policy. So if you guys can see that, that's where you get the update, and that's every question you'll have to ask. There's only like 6 of them. And when you call the carrier, you just ask those questions. So if they had Colonial Penn, like we said, in the next video, we'll be talking about that, where you can call the carrier, get all the info you need to then send that to your upline or see what you can leverage. So this is step 5. This is policy review. This is when we found out already, we did the whole presentation. We know that they have Colonial Penn, and we educated them across the whole presentation in the last video. So now at this point, and you don't want to give them any time to tell you no. You're going to call Colonial Penn. You should have them saved in your contacts with a picture of the Colonial Penn logo. You go, I don't want to say it because it'll mess up my phone, but hey, Siri, and then you call it. And then what you do is when you call, you give them no time. You don't ask them if you can call. You just have Colonial Penn ringing. You go, hey, we're going to get a quick update on your policy. Make sure that you didn't fall under any of these 3 concerns that we just talked about. So then you go ahead, call the carrier. You get the company name, the policy number, how much they're covered for, what they're paying a month, their current cash value, if they have any loans, right? This is also in broker as well. For my team, I'll probably start implementing it this way. And let me pull this up real quickly before I go over the whole review to show you, honestly, the right way to probably go about this. So when we do the policy review, we'll be doing it on here now. So it's on Broker 360. It's the same thing. I'll explain this more in depth later on, but basically when you add a policy into here, and I can just do this. Okay. So this is where you will input, and I'll show everybody how to get to this. Obviously, that's on my team, but this is where you input the policy review information. So you get the company on the line, you call them. When calling them, obviously, you want to direct yourself to the life insurance department. And then once you're with the life insurance department, you simply say, hey, I'm sitting down here with Miss Johnson. I'm just a family friend. We're looking to get an update on her policy and see exactly what she has going on. She is here to authorize me to speak as well. Do whatever you have to do to get this to happen, of course. Now, what they'll do is they'll ask Miss Johnson 7 questions: date of birth, last 4 of your social, address, email, whatever it may be. She'll answer all the questions. They'll say, hey, Miss Johnson, do you give Jaden authorization to speak, on this phone call and ask the question? She'll go, yes, if you've done everything right. She'll say yes, and then you basically just fill out this. What are they covered for? Do they have any loans? Do they have any riders? You ask all the questions on here. Pretty straightforward. We can go in this more in depth one-on-one time or in ride-alongs. But for the policy review, you simply want to call them and go over this. The only thing I'll say on these training videos is when you do the policy review and you go over this, let's say that, you know, they're in that Colonial Penn, which means they're C graded, they're in that 2-year wait. Let's say they've only had it for a year, and you ask that question, hey, are they in this waiting period? And they say yes. Mute the phone, look at Miss Johnson and go, did you know you're in that waiting period? She'll go, what? And I'll go, yeah, did you just hear that? And I'll ask them again, hey, she's in that waiting period, right? They go, yeah. And then you mute again, and she's like, oh my goodness. You know, so you're making the company shoot themselves in the foot. When you come across the actual problem that they have and you target it within the call, make sure Miss Johnson on that call knows that there's no point even doing the call. And then you get all the information here about their policy. So that's step 5, that's policy review. That's how you get everything and just know what they have with their policy. Because most of the time, when you get the information back on the presentation, because like we went over in the last video, the 3 concerns, when you do the policy review, specifically with the Colonial Penn in this example, you can say, hey, Ms. Johnson, you did a great job. You got something in place. You got a whole life, but you got that C-graded Colonial Penn. You're healthy enough and eligible for that A preferred. So you can see where you can leverage the call and then be like, hey, where did they fall apart in this presentation? You want to match up the call with where they fell apart in the Prezi. So then that's how that works. Now, you don't really need to explain that to them after you do the call. It'll be quite obvious. And if anything, you can go, hey, look, you fell here, you're eligible for an upgrade. Now, the next step here, because it's pretty easy. That's the whole policy review. That's what you do. You get the whole policy review, do the third-party call, you get everything. And then what you want to do next is you want to do your in and up call. So I'll just keep this all in one video. We'll just keep it going for the point of it. Now, after you get all of the info on the policy review, you log it all into Broker and save it, and you now know what they have. You go, great, we found out that you're in that C-graded program. You're eligible for an A preferred. I just have to give my upline, let's just say it's me, Jaden, a call, and he will let us know, because remember, we're a brokerage, we shop the market. He'll let us know which A preferred program would be best for you in terms of this upgrade, so we can get you that $4,000 in cash value back and make sure that you have all the riders. Or we can make sure you're not in this waiting period anymore and you have all the riders, you're covered day 1, right? You go, we'll just give them a quick call. Again, just like the carrier call, don't even give them time to don't ask if you can call your upline. Just call him. All right, he's already on the line. And he's gonna be like, hey, how can I help you? Now at this point, just so you know for perspective, when you do the in and up call and you go through it, you'll say, I'll answer the phone, I'll go, hey, how can I help you, Steven? Because we have Steven here with us. I'll go, hey, how can I help you? And he'll go, hey, I'm sitting down here with Miss Johnson, and he'll read off of this data sheet. It'll be almost like a cheat sheet, right? Where you'll say, you can press a screenshot to get it all consolidated into here. And you go, for this example, you'll say, hey, I'm sitting down here with Miss Barbara. She's young age of 78. She is getting that Social Security on time, do the checking account on the 3rd, and she's currently on a tobacco use, which is great. In terms of her underwriting, she currently has nothing wrong with her, so that's awesome. No health conditions there, and just 2 blood pressure medications. I know that's not too big of a deal. In terms of the final expenses, we did get to find out that she was placed into that C-grade Colonial Penn, the waiting period. It looks to me like she's eligible for an A preferred program and upgrade, Jaden. Just seeing which one you think would be best for her. And I'll go, great job finding that out, Steven, for Miss Johnson, Miss Barbara, whoever it is. I'll go, great job finding that out for Miss Barbara and Miss Steven. Okay, I blanked. Give me a second here. So I do these hundreds of times a day and I blanked. So I'll go, great job, Steven, finding that out for Miss Barbara. It sounds like she was given the right type of coverage, being that whole life, the Colonial Penn, she was just given the wrong grade of coverage. She definitely is eligible for an A preferred program. Looking at her health here, it looks like she'd qualify for a Mutual of Omaha Living Promise. That is the best product in the United States. Only 1 in 10 Americans get approved. So, she's doing amazing for the health. No reason she should have been in that C grade. If you're able to get her upgraded, what that'll do to get her the day 1 coverage, so she's no longer in those waiting periods. You'll make sure that her premiums never go up in price, which is very important, a fixed premium, and the policy will never expire. You also get her all 3 riders that I'm sure you educated her on. The hardest part about your job, Steven, is just seeing if you can get her medically approved. If you can do so, you get her that full upgrade, and it looks like a $4,000 tax-free reimbursement. Did you guys have any questions for me? And then at that point, they'll either say yes, they have a question, or they don't. And now okay, Mutual of Omaha is the sheet. This is the next part. Now you go, okay, great. Now that we know what carrier it is, and that Jaden over the upline call in the policy review said it's Mutual of Omaha, you pull out one of these sheets and you show them about Mutual of Omaha. And you go, this is the company we're looking to upgrade you into, and we'll go over this later, but you just read off this sheet, all the value of the company. And I go, I'll let you hold on to this while I get you some numbers, because I want them to just be staring at the value while I get them numbers. Now what you'll do is you open up the Mutual of Omaha quoting tool, and then based on their age, if they're a smoker or not, you get all their quotes. And let me find a data sheet that I have price on here. I'm kind of merging all the rest of the 10 steps in this video because they kind of flow together. So this is how I do price here. So this is what it looks like. You'll have all of them written out, and you want to circle the silver. Now, I already did this presentation in real life for somebody, so I want to make sure it looks perfect on here. So when I do this, the only numbers I have highlighted are the middle numbers, the pricing, and then I circle the middle one, right? So when I'm drawing it out while she's looking at that sheet, this is how I do it here. Now, after I get all the prices and she's looked at the sheet for a second, I'll go, great. I just want to show you this one more time just to make sure we're on the same page. It sounds like I'm repeating myself, but I'd rather have you know than not, right? So you go over that it's a day one coverage. Monthly premiums will never increase. So this policy will never go up in price on you. That's why it's a whole life. It's fixed premiums. The policy cannot expire due to age or health, so it's not a term. It doesn't terminate. It's a whole life. It lasts your whole life. It'll build the cash value for you, like we've talked about. So over time, you can loan against it or get reimbursed. God forbid you decide to get rid of it 10 years down the line. It is an A-preferred program like we talked about, no C-graded Colonial Penn. So it's day one. You get all 3 riders that we talked about. And if they seem like they're not as with it, you can re-explain the riders and what they are again. You get me again for the rest of your life, unless I pass before you do. Throw a joke in there, and also that free discount program. Now, it's very important to know Uncle Sam won't be coming after your daughter's money. God forbid when you pass. Benefits are paid tax-free to your beneficiary. Now, when I go over price, I then scroll up, and you want to make sure, like based on their situation, and I won't do it here, but I'll just let you know for the point of the video to be quick. I have the whole price, like I already showed you here, written out. And the top left, I'll write the advantages and then highlight, somewhere up in here what's happening. So if they're getting $4,000 back, I'll say, hey, $4,000 back, all riders day one. Kind of summarize it in the top here so they can look at that while they're looking at the price, seeing what they're actually getting. So then when I show price, here's exactly how I do it. So I got you 3 options like we talked about, and every situation is different. I'll go over, which prices to show in which situations and which amounts of coverage. But for this example, I'll say this is a gold option. This is leaving a little extra. This is a max coverage. Now what this is $20,000 in coverage, goes to $40,000, the other rider in case of an accident, the bottom and top number of riders, and $10,000, God forbid you're ever deemed terminally ill. That starts at $169 a month. The silver, it meets in between the two. This is what we see most people in the area pick. It is $15,000 in coverage, $30,000 in case of an accident, $7,500, God forbid you're ever deemed terminally ill. That's at $127 a month, and then I circle it again. Then I'll go to the bronze beginner package, because you never know, you don't want to charge back. Their income could be a little lower, so you want to suffice for that just in case. So you go to the bronze package of beginner, because you can always upgrade later. Let them know that. That's $10,000 in natural coverage, $20,000 in case of an accident, $5,000, God forbid you're ever deemed terminally ill. That's at $86 a month. Now at this point, you basically want to say one last thing and then shut up and never talk until they do. So you want to go based on these 3 options, knowing you can pick anything in between, and most importantly, taking your budget into consideration. What would be best for you and your daughter? Then you just go blank. You don't say anything.
Stare at the iPad.
Stare at the iPad, or just stare off into space. Like it's awkward, but just don't say anything until they talk first. Now usually you'll win that game. If they talk first, you'll win the game, right? That's what you want to do. And it should be within a minute. If it takes them 2 minutes, you can go, do you have any questions? Because it's obviously way too awkwardly long amount of time. Like, be like, what's going, you can say what's going on here. But 99% of the time, you just want to shut up after you explain it like that and just let them process everything you said. You don't want to seem salesy ever. Just like, hey, what option's best for you based on your budget, and you can do anything in between for you and your daughter. And go silent. They'll pick an option. Once they pick an option, just like the carrier call, just like when you call your upline, you don't really want to give them a second to think when they're making that decision that really transitions you to the next part of what you're doing. So you want to say, let's say they go, yep, silver, I'll go with that. So they pick the silver. You go, great, all we need is your driver's license to get it started. They'll go grab your driver's license, you open up the application, now you're in it selling the application. Obviously, we won't go over how to sell, ripping through an application, because I can't even open one anyways, but you'll learn how to do that. So then what you'll do is you'll fill out the application. After the application's filled out, there's just a few things that you have to do. You obviously want to make sure you do all your branding, which we'll talk about later as well. The last 2 steps are a little bit less training, more just your upline will just tell you what to do. But it's things like leaving business cards, saving the number in your phone, leaving these end of sale sheets. Like you'll actually leave this behind, a whole packet with everything written out. You'll leave, these are the laminated ones, but you'll have printed off sheets where you can write on these, leave them a value sheet, and you leave as much branding behind as possible. You take a picture with them if they're okay with it after they help you, and then ask for any referrals. That's the last step. Now, when you ask for referrals, you want to do it in the house, because it's just like a lead where if you show up and don't sell it then, the odds are you ever sell it is very low. The odds that someone says, yeah, my cousin's interested, I'll give them your number. You're never going to hear from the cousin ever again your whole life. So, you want to just do it in the house. Make them call them in the house if you're ever going to get a referral. Or make them take you to their neighbor. If they say, hey, my neighbor, hey, can you take me to him? You see, I just got you $4,000 back, got you a way better situation. If he has a colonial pen too, let's go help him. And they can walk you over to him. So that's the last step is referrals. You can get 2 extra sales a week by doing that. But that's pretty much, concise down. Obviously, it's 11 o'clock at night, so my verbiage might not be perfect for all these videos, but that's the whole general consensus on how you want to go about things and do the whole entire presentation. It'll make more sense when you see it in real life, but as long as, with everything that happens in between and doing it in front of a real person, if you can just stick to, you go baseline back to this the whole time, you'll be good. Don't let the client throw you off the 10 steps, because you don't want to be on step 3 and you don't want them to drag you to price step 6, because you haven't even showed them any value yet. They don't even have any reason to pick a price. So if they go, what's the price, whatever, you got to learn to stick to the 10 steps and say, hey, I'm the representative. I have to show you that this is my job to show you like this, right? So stick to the 10 steps, stick to your guns. All in all, out of everything that I said, none of this matters at all if you don't have confidence. So at the door, you could say it perfect how I said in all 4 videos. If you don't have confidence, it don't matter. Literally 0 doesn't matter at all. You're not going to get doors. If you don't have the confidence just to call the carrier without them saying anything and just act like you do it all the time, even when you're new, that's what you have to have, is that confidence to do so. But that's all pretty much through the whole 10 steps there with all different door approaches. And yeah, that's everything.